All right. It says we are recording. Sync audio. Audio. Looks good. How's it going, guys? Welcome to another video. Long time no see. It's good to be back. A little bit about me if you're new to the channel. My name is Haven DeZoo. I work on our family's dairy farm here in northern Michigan with my family. And me and my siblings got into growing pastured poultry. Our first year was the summer of 2020 when things kind of got weird a little bit. But even with all the craziness going on, we had really good luck with it for being beginners in pastured poultry. And there was a lot of information that I wish we would have known before we got into it, particularly where to find the information that we needed to be successful. Like, where do you go to learn what we needed to learn? And also, how much is it going to cost? Because you hear people say that the Joel Salatin model is very affordable. It's the most profitable of all the other farming models and requires the least amount of capital cost to start up an operation. And we heard that a lot, and we found that to be true, but we still didn't have a lot of information about how much is it going to cost to get the whole thing up and running. So those are the questions I want to answer in this video. Specifically, how much does it cost to farm like Joel Salatin? We kept track of how much we spent on everything: ice, propane, chicks, feed, the materials we used to build chicken tractors, pluckers, scalders, everything that we bought. And we started from no chicken equipment except the old chicken coop at the farm where we used to have layers when I was a kid. Everything else we bought. So let's get started. So first of all is, where do you need to go in order to learn what you need to learn to raise pastured poultry successfully? The answer is this book right here. This is Pastured Poultry Profits by Joel Salatin. And I read this twice before we even got our first chicks. And it has everything you need to know in order to grow pastured poultry successfully, all the way down to common illnesses in pastured poultry and how to take care of them, the signs of different predators, because different predators will attack a chicken in a different way, and how to get rid of them, how to process efficiently and work efficiently, as well as how to deal with customers directly when you're selling direct to consumer and not through a retail market. So this book, highly suggest it if you are starting from zero, or if you're someone like me who grew up around chickens and cattle and you kind of know, you think you know a lot about animals. This was a wealth of information, even for someone who grew up on a farm. All right, also, Polyface Designs by Joel Salatin and Chris Slattery. Chris did all the CAD designs for this book. It has a whole bunch of the plans of the structures of Polyface Farm. And if you're someone who isn't comfortable building things with little information, this is a great book for you. It's very specific and has step-by-step plans on how to build the chicken shelters that are very similar to the ones that I built. We did not have this book when we built our shelters. All we had was pictures, dimensions, and stuff that Joel had said in videos on YouTube. And ours turned out pretty well. But if you want the exact way that Joel Salatin and the guys at their farm build those shelters, this is the book that you want to get. And it has a whole bunch of other stuff for different animals: cows, pigs, rabbits, turkeys, tips for material handling and how to build winter housing for your animals, and a whole bunch of extra stuff in the back, like how to fence, how to build a hay wagon, a whole bunch of really neat stuff that that if you don't like building things just from the ground up without any plans, that's the book that you want to get. And it goes without saying that we watched a lot of YouTube videos. I probably watched every single video and lecture that Joel Salatin had ever produced or was on film anywhere. And that was really great for us as we started on this whole journey of pastured poultry. Helped us out a lot, and I attribute our success to his books and all the content that he has put out online. We would not have been near as successful as we were if we didn't have those resources virtually for free. All of this information you could get for free on YouTube, but the books are really good because it's all in one place. I won't go into specific YouTube channels because there was like a dozen of them that I browsed when I was doing research for this whole thing. So I'll put that list of YouTube channels in the description below. A lot of them you've probably already heard of if you've been around homesteading or agriculture for any amount of time, but I'll put that in the description anyways if that's something you guys want to go and check out. All right, so now that we've learned everything that we need to learn in order to raise the chickens and process them and all that stuff, I want to talk real quick before we get into the numbers about equipment. If you buy good equipment, it's going to save you time, it's going to save you sanity, and it's going to hold its value a lot longer than the cheap stuff you can get nowadays. Pluckers and scalders are kind of hard to come by now unless you're buying them brand new. And if you do buy them new, there tends to be, especially now with all the shipping delays and the factory delays and all that stuff, there tends to be a long wait period before you actually get that equipment. Sometimes 4 months. I was hearing about a year ago that's what it was. I don't know what it is now, but if you want to get your equipment for this summer, even this late summer, I say buy it now, because chances are there's going to be holdups getting that to you. You really don't want to buy equipment that's cheap and that falls apart, because no one's going to want to buy it and you're not going to want to use it. It's going to be more trouble than it's worth just trying to keep it together and take care of it and baby it than it's worth. I don't know who said it, but I like to use the motto of buy once, cry once. Get the best equipment that you can afford at the time that you buy it and take care of it, and it'll take care of you. All right, so let's get into the specifics of how much we spent to farm like Joel Salatin. All right, so I've got my spreadsheet here. I split up the costs into 3 different categories. The first one being capital equipment costs, these being things that we bought once in order to farm this way, such as transport crates, broiler shelters, everything that isn't an annual expense I put on this first category. The second category I called production expenses, which was just the chicks and the feed. This is stuff that we had to buy in order to grow the chicks themselves, but not process. And then the last category I just called processing expenses, because that's what we spent when we were processing. So let's get right into it. Brooder equipment. So right when you get your chicks, you need a place for them to stay. The building they are in at our place is the old chicken coop. The thing must be 100 years old. It was free. We weren't using it for anything, and so we got that for free. But this could be in your garage. I mean, easily you could set this up in your garage and it wouldn't be much trouble at all, as long as you have a safe heating source. If you were putting it in your garage, don't use heat lamps. I wouldn't even use a hover heater. I know a lot of places make like a what is it called? Like a radiant heat pad or stuff or something for chicks. You can use one of them. So we raised these 900 broilers in 2020 in 3 different groups, doing 300 each time, because we had 4 shelters with 75 birds in each one. And to buy feeders and waterers for these guys is not that expensive. I figure we spent around $200 to get them set up in the brooder. Transport crates. We bought 20 of these at different times. We didn't buy them all at once, which is what we should have done, but they cost about $60 a piece for a total of about $1,200. We paid a little more than that because we didn't buy them all together. I think if you buy them all at once, you might get a discount or something. But problems that caused buying them at different times was there was lots of shortages at that time, so we couldn't get the same type of chicken crate every single time. So we split it up into 3 different purchases and got 3 different types of crates each time. So they don't stack together well. 5 of them are a lot smaller than the other 15. It's a big mess. So if I could do it over again, I would suggest buy them all at once so that you can ensure you're getting the same type of crate for all of your crates. Broiler shelters next. $1,000 for 4 shelters, being $250 a piece. So we have the shelters, but we have to get them set up with feeders and waterers. We made 4 feeders from just scrap wood we had lying around, and they are in some ways better than the ones that you can buy. You can make them yourself, which I think I would suggest, or you can buy them, but we figured we spent somewhere around $20 per shelter to get feeders in there. And the water system that we landed on was the Plason style Bell waterer. They're what the Salatins use down in Virginia. So we bought 4 of them in 2021 because the cheap waters we used in 2020 fell apart. They were made in China, like 50 cents a piece. The sun just made them deteriorate and made them super brittle. So we upgraded to the waters we should have bought first off. Instead of buying them twice, just buy the good ones up front and they'll last a long time. Those were $80 a piece, times 4 is $320. Next is the garden hoses that we bought to transport water over the pasture because carrying water is stupid. For the first 2 or 3 weeks, I brought 4 5-gallon buckets from our house here 5 minutes away to the pasture to water the chickens twice a day. I did that for like 3 weeks. That's dumb. Just buy some hoses. Carrying water is stupid. It's heavy. It takes a long time. It's cumbersome. It's not nice on your body if you're doing it a lot. Just do yourself a favor. Get hoses. Make your work faster and simpler. Killing cones I made for free. I just took some boards we had lying around and made a frame, and then I made the killing cones themselves out of 15-gallon sanitizer totes that we had at the farm. So I made a video on that. I'll put that in the description as well. Plucker and scalder. Now, these are much more expensive now. I'll pull up the picture here. So this picture is from a couple days ago for the same scalder and plucker combo that we bought in 2020 for $3,200 brand new. That same combo now costs $3,900 brand new before shipping. So it has gone up $700 over 2 years. But this is the combo that we bought. The scalder is a 40-gallon scalder, I believe. So yeah, this is the same combo that we bought 2 years ago. Is the power going to go out? We have an ice storm in Michigan right now. There's probably 1/3 of an inch of ice on all the power lines, and now the lights are flickering. That's not nice. When we bought that plucker and scalder, it was $3,200 plus $300 freight to get it to the farm for a total of $3,500. Now that scalder runs on propane, and so we purchased 2 propane tanks that were 15-pound propane tanks. And those cost $50 a piece, times 2 is $100 for tanks. We also bought 2 chill tanks. Originally, we just bought brand new trash cans that were flimsy and didn't work well, and so we had to re-buy chill tanks. And those were brand new cattle drinking troughs that were 150 gallons a piece. So if you're looking to get a chill tank, a good rule of thumb is to take the amount of chickens you want to process, times that by 2, and that's the amount of gallons worth of chill tank space that you're going to need if you're going to have all those birds in the chill tanks all at the same time. So we bought 2 150-gallon cattle troughs, and those cost $300 for both of them. We also bought a scale to weigh the chickens so we could get an accurate weight because we were selling these. That was $100, as well as knives and aprons. We probably spent around $500 on those. And again, with equipment, especially aprons for chickens, get really heavy duty, like very heavy duty aprons, as heavy duty as you can find. I bought 4 different types of aprons, and they just kept ripping, and we don't really have aprons yet that are tough enough to not have holes poked in them, and then you get your clothes all wet. So get good aprons and get good knives. All right, we'll scroll down here to production expenses. So we get our chicks from Townline Hatchery. Okay, here we go. So here's Townline's website. We grew the Jumbo Cornish Rock Cross. That's their like production broiler chicken. And I know the $4.22, that's not the actual price you're going to pay. This is their price scale right here. So our price, if you're buying 100 to 200 or more, is about $2. The less you buy, the more expensive it is, and the more you buy, the less expensive it is. So we paid about $2 per chick from Townline Hatchery. They're a great hatchery here in Michigan, one of the oldest hatcheries in America, if not the oldest, I believe. And they also have more of a longer growing broiler that tends to have darker meat, I'm told, and it does a lot better free ranging on pasture than a Cornish cross does. And the pricing for these is quite similar to the Cornish cross, only a few cents more. If you're getting 200 or more, it's only $2.05 per chick right now at the time of filming this. If you're at Murray McMurray, the Cornish cross equivalent down there, there's the prices for those. And their kind of Freedom Ranger equivalent looks to be the Murray's Big Red Broiler. Those are the prices for those. I suggest patronizing whatever hatchery is closer to you. I think the biggest teller of positive outcome is going to be how close the hatchery is to you, because the less time that chick spends in the mail, the better it's going to do once it's at your farm. So $2 times 900 chicks is $1,800 for chicks. Shipping for us, because we're so close to Townline Hatchery, is free. All right, so feed, we spent $3,600. We bought 9 ton worth of feed, and at the time it was 20 cents per pound. This was before the world began coming to an end, so now feed might be like $10 a pound. I don't really know. Last year in 2021, it went from 20 cents to 25 cents from where we get our feed from. Our feed ration was 62% corn, 25% of it was 48% soy, 7.5% was extruded soy, 5% was the mineral pack, 1/4% was Opti Remedy, which is like an essential oils, a natural immune booster that they put in the feed, and 1/4% was what they call Diffusion Plus. To my understanding, this is an additive they put in the feed that allows it to flow more freely so it doesn't clog up the grain bins and the augers and stuff. Makes it a lot more easy to load it and unload it from the auger trucks that they use to deliver. So that is the ration that our broilers ate from when they were chicks until the day before we processed them. All right, so processing expenses were just ice, packaging, and propane refills. We spent $300 on ice. So we ended up using 10 20-pound bags of ice each day that we processed chickens, and we processed 150 birds each day. So we had 6 different processing days times 200 pounds of ice each day, and we pay about 25 cents per pound for ice where we're buying just retail from large gas stations and convenience stores all around the area, and we spent about $300 on ice for the whole summer. And packaging, we figure about 50 cents per bird. We buy our packaging from Texas Poultry shrink bags. I suggest if you're planning to grow your birds to where they dress at, say 6 pounds, buy the majority, well, buy all of your bags for all your chickens in 6-pound bags, and then buy some that are bigger and buy some that are smaller, because you're going to have some hens that are too small for the bag and aren't going to look good in it, and you're going to have some roosters that are bigger than you expected and they're not going to fit in the one size bag that you buy. So get the majority of what you plan to dress them at and then get some above and below. They're really not that expensive, and it's better to have way more bags than you need than to not have enough, and then you have a bunch of naked chickens that don't have any bag to call home. And these guys are just shy of 50 cents a piece. And then once you add your sticker label in, which you can also get from Texas Poultry, they've got good labels that actually stay on the bag. If you buy the cheap labels, like from Walmart and stuff, those will oftentimes fall off of the plastic in the freezer. So you want to get a sticker that's specifically made for a shrink wrap bag or a plastic bag that is going to be put in the freezer. Otherwise, it's going to fall off and it's going to be a nightmare to have to go back and relabel all of your chickens. So we figure about 50 cents a piece for 900 birds, a total of $450 for packaging. So our experience was a 15-pound propane tank was enough to run that 40-gallon scalder to scald 150 chickens, and then we would drain it, we would sanitize it, refill it, reheat the water with propane, and then we would be able to shrink wrap, package those 150 birds all with one 15-pound propane tank with a couple pounds to spare. And so we used 6 propane tank refills because we processed 6 different days. And I said we got 2 propane tanks. I always have a backup. It's always good to have redundancies just in case. So we refilled those tanks 6 different times, $15 each time to refill the 15-pound tank, for a total of $90. So the total amount of money that we spent to buy enough equipment to efficiently and relatively easily raise, process 900 broilers in 3 batches of 300 over the course of a summer was $14,040. Now, you're thinking that's a lot of money. And I would say, you're right, that is a lot of money. So now let's look at how many of those birds we sold. We kept about 130, 150, somewhere around there for our family and for my brother's family. And we also gave away probably 50 to 70 of those chickens for free to families that we thought would appreciate it and then would in turn buy more chicken. You have to do it like the crack dealers. This is how I was taught. The first one is free, and then once you get them hooked, they come back for more. That also works for chicken, so that's what we've been doing, and it seemed to work so far. We sold 700 of those 900 chickens, and they dressed at 6.2 pounds, and we charged about $4 per pound for those chickens. So for the ones we sold, we grossed $17,360, and our total expenses for the whole year, including capital startup equipment costs, was $14,040. And so we were money ahead. Year one, everything is paid off. So now we have all of this equipment is free and clear. We own it now, and we can get a lot of this money back if we ever chose to get out of it. And now next year, we don't have these blue costs here. That's a one-time thing. Yes, 10, 15 years from now, we'll have to start replacing this stuff, and there will be repair costs, but the vast bulk of this amount of money we won't have to pay again for a long time. So in our second year, if we did the same thing, if we raised 900, if we kept 200, and we sold 700, now some of you are saying, well, you have a death loss, and that's true. Our death loss the first year was 3.3%. which is really good. If you're doing a good job, it should be around 5%. Less than 5%, you're doing pretty good. You always want it below 10%, I'm told. But ours was 3.3 for the first year. So these are pretty accurate numbers, even if you include death loss. So if we did the same thing the next year, instead of only having, $3,300 above board, you would have almost $10,000 free and clear that you could pay people who helped you process if you're not conning your family into helping you for chicken. Or you can use that money to go and expand and upgrade equipment if you wanted to, or expand your business. Or if you just wanted to do this as a side gig like we're doing. By the way, this was not a full-time job for me in the summertime. I was working 45, 50 hours a week at our family's conventional dairy here that's really close to where we live. And I would go and check on the chickens and do chicken chores in the morning and in the evenings. So this was all extra as to what I was doing every day on the farm where I work. $10,000 is pretty great for a side gig. It really is. And there really isn't any other type of farming that you can pay off your capital costs that quick and be able to get out so easily if we ever decided we wanted to try something else. That's how much it cost us to farm like Joel Salatin in 2020. I know lumber costs and feed costs are up now. In northern Michigan, raising 900 birds. There's a lot of caveats there, but there's lots of videos on my YouTube channel. You guys can go and watch the whole process of us getting our first chicks, raising them in the field, building the tractors, processing them. All that stuff I've made videos on, so you guys can go and learn if that's something you'd like to do. So I wanted to make that available to people who are getting into this, who might be skeptical that people are overinflating how profitable this type of farming is. It really is more profitable than any farming that I've witnessed in my very long lifetime. Now, you don't need to start as big as we did, but if you do, it's very easy if you can sell that chicken, keep it safe while it's in the chicken tractors, get it out to customers. You can get your money back in the first year. I say the first year, but you could buy this stuff in the spring and get your money back before the snow flies. It's that lucrative. All right, guys, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I'm glad that I had the chance to sit down and make this video. I got a bunch of new technology to help me with it. I fixed the camera. I got a new lens. I got some new audio equipment underneath my shirt here. Ooh. See that? So I can wirelessly get good quality audio, especially in the summer. I watched some of the older videos and I really don't like the wind sound that the GoPro makes. So this stuff should help a lot with that. I'll put all the links to the YouTube channels down in the description, as well as links to Pastured Poultry Profits and Polyface Designs. I might just send you to the Polyface website. You can get a whole bunch of books. There's so many good books. If you have any questions that I did not answer, you can go and check out videos that I've made, or drop them in the comments down below. I'll try my best to get back to everyone and answer as best I can. With all that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.